Hello people, we are Tottenham TV and today we're going to be looking into our generational talent, which is Luka Vuskovic, doing the rounds after yesterday's, was it yesterday or Saturday's performance in the Belgian league. The 2007 centre-back born 2007 born centre-back put in man of the match display for Westerlo over the weekend.
You had to put the year there, make us all feel very, very old. 2007.
The year
before we won a trophy, 1 year.
That's absolutely mad. That is actually mad when you think about it like that. But at the age, he's just recently turned 18, right? He's already got over 50 professional performances under his belt. Mm-hmm. He's literally a star in the making. If he's not already, he's definitely a star in the Belgium league, that's for sure.
Having a stellar season.
Yeah, 7 goals already this season. Just to put that into context, Bukayo Saka's got 5 and Sonny's got 6.
Do you reckon he'll get in Team of the Year in the Belgian league?
He has to. He's just won goal of the year as well for that overhead kick.
What can't he do, huh?
The guy is literally, every week when you think he can't surprise you anymore, he surprises you. And the stats for his game over the weekend, he got a rating from SofaScore by 9. So, I mean...
Without scoring.
It was a 0-0 game against Leuven out in Belgium.
This is a team as well, Westerlo, who are battling relegation at the moment.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like, he went, basically, we signed him from Hajduk Split. He hasn't even officially signed yet. He's signing this summer. Officially, he's on loan from Hajduk Split at Westerlo this season. But at Hajduk Split, at the age of like 16, I think it was, he was starting week in, week out for them. He then got a loan move to Radom.
I think he made his debut at 15. And
yeah, I think you're right, actually. Yeah. And then he went to the Polish league, absolutely smashed that league out. Then he's like, that's too easy for him. And then he's gone to the Belgian league this year along with Alfie Devine to Westerlo. He's smashing that league out. So, I mean, his trajectory is actually really scary in how quickly he is rising in the game. And it's going to be interesting to see what Spurs do with him in the summer. Do we keep him around? Do we send him to the Championship? Does he go to a lower Premier League? Like, where does he go after this season that he's having? It's just mad to think about.
Yeah, it's about if we decide he's ready for the Premier League. I'm pretty sure Tottenham are going to want to have a look at him because we know Ange anyway has been mentioning him as part of the reason why Tottenham maybe in the summer didn't invest more heavily in the centre-back area because they didn't want to block his pathway. Obviously, Dragutin's injury and other circumstances led to us signing Danso, but I think Tottenham are for sure planning with him to be in the first team. I think maybe even next season. I think they're going to take a look at him in pre-season, see where he's at. But physically, he's dominating that league. I mean, the stats show, we'll bring them up in a minute, but to do that 18 and to do that as as such a young centre-back that he is, seriously impressive. And to get that amount of goals he has, this guy is a star in the making. And I think everyone is very, very excited about the potential of him partnering whoever next season.
And the term generational talent does get banded about a bit too easily and too quickly in this day and age. But I genuinely believe this guy is a generational talent and he's showing it week in, week out at the moment. Let's go and have a look at a few things that was going around X over the weekend. So this was his performance by numbers. Look at this, 41 out of 44 passes completed, 1 chance created, 10 out of 10 accurate long balls, which is crazy. 1 goal line clearance, 2 blocks, 3 head clearances, 3 interceptions, 7 ball recoveries, 1 out of 2 ground duels won, and 10 out of 11 aerial duels won.
He's just an absolute monster in the air. He's an absolute beast in the air, isn't he? That's why he gets so many headed goals, and he's so tall, he's 6'5" or something.
Yeah.
He's an absolute monster in those areas, but the long passes is what should get everyone excited because you have to be kind of at the level we want in the Premier League. It's all well and good having those physical attributes, but you've got to be technically proficient as well. You've got to be able to, especially how we want to play out the back, use that passing range, switches of play. You see Van Dijk, how good he is. As much as he's amazing, those one-on-one kind of defensive duels and in the air, he's unbelievable with the ball at his feet as well, to be able to spray those passes to Salah. How many times we see him spray those passes over the top and Liverpool make something happen very quickly. And that's such an exciting stat, the fact that he can ping those passes looks like on a consistent basis, and his long passing over the season is also really good. So that is really, really exciting. Yeah. And he's doing that for a team who are struggling.
Yeah, unbelievable. If you scroll down, the next one's the same stat. So if you scroll down to the one underneath this, look at this. If you look at the one on the right, this is his percentile rank versus Belgian Pro League defenders. He's basically So shots inside the box, 92%. Goals, 98%. Block shots, 70%. Clearances, 86%. Aerials, 97% percentile. Duels, 90%. Aerials, 96. Tackles, 96. Long ball accuracy, 88th percentile. I mean, he's literally... You're talking about on a stats performance related, he's basically one of, if not the best performing centre-back in the league.
Which is incredible, absolutely incredible. And considering as well, again, this is a team that doesn't dominate every week. They're always kind of under pressure. Obviously, when it comes to defensive stats, sometimes it's hard to judge when you're talking about just kind of total figures, because obviously defensive teams defend more, so they're going to get higher figures. But when you're looking at percentage tackles won, percentage aerials won, percentage duels won, those are really telling stats about how often they're winning their duels as a percentage wise, because you could compete for 100 duels and win 30 of them, but then you could be winning more than the top centre backs. But percentage is what matters here. And look how high he is in those percentages. This guy is really, really hard to beat. You can't win aerial duels against him. It's hard to win ground duels as well. And his passing stats really, really impressive. And obviously the goals, we know he's unbelievable in the opposition box. So I can't wait to have an aerial threat there.
And when you're talking about unbelievable in the opposition box, let's go and have a look at the goal that did win him goal of the year out in Belgium. And this is a special goal. Look at this. Boom!
Well, how many centre-backs can do that, honestly? I don't think I've seen
that is just elite level, that. It's just unbelievable finish.
As well, to do that when such a big guy, to move his body like that. It's almost like Peter Crouch when he used to do those scissor kicks. It's absolutely amazing. And to kind of have that athleticism coupled with the physicality, the strength and the dominance in the air. I mean, that's just kind of a concoction that you can only dream of. The Haaland of centre-backs, they call it.
17 years of age, he's doing that against like grown men, seasoned pros in the Belgian
Wasn't that
league.
was that against Bruges, that one?
Yeah, that was against Bruges.
Was that the best team in...
Mignolet in goal.
Yeah, one of the best teams in Belgium as well, who just beat Villa not so long ago, the Champions League. They're playing against them this week, so they're a good team. Like,
Yes.
This is no duds, and he's taking a piss.
If you scroll down, this is from Rising Stars 11 on X, and they say under 17 players with the most league goals in Europe. Luka Vuskovic is number 1, ahead of a very top talent in Lamine Yamal.
So he should be playing up front for Barca, is that what we're saying?
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Incredible. It's just mad to think an 18-year-old centre-back playing in Belgium has that kind of stat. And I think it's hopefully not too long before he starts getting regular game time for Croatia national team as well. He's just an incredible talent, and to be top of that as not being a forward is really impressive.
Yeah, and I get told a lot, or I see on social media a lot, not that I get told, but when I put the stat up about Saka and Vuskovic, and then the response, but Saka's been out injured for the past 2 months, and also Saka's playing in the English league, and Vuskovic is playing in the Belgian league. Do you not understand? This guy is a centre-back. This guy is a centre-back.
And he's 18, an 18-year-old centre-back.
Only just turned 18.
Like, literally,
all these goals were when he was 17.
It's crazy. And he's not on penalties.
And he's not. Rising Stars as well also say Luka Vuskovic is delivering an authentic masterclass with Westerlo this season. Just look at these ratings that SofaScore are giving him week in, week out. So this weekend topped the lot. His best performance of the season with a 9, but you got 7.6, 7.2, 7. High 6s, 7.6, 7.9, 7.5, 8.1. The guy is performing at a really good level, literally week in, week out. The consistency for a player of his age is actually mad.
Yeah, it's crazy, and he very rarely drops his level of performance. He's to have that's also a mental thing, that's a mentality thing. So usually players at his age very inconsistent, up and down, and he seems to be just determined every week to improve and get better, and he seems to be keeping up his standards week in, week out.
Fabrizio Romano came out yesterday and said that Tottenham, or this morning actually, and says Tottenham are happy with Luka Vuskovic's development on loan at Westerlo. 2007 born centre-back, was man of the match yesterday, and already with 50 plus professional games with 11 goals scored, Spurs believe that they signed a top talent strongly wanted by former chief scout Gabbanini. And it's worth noting as well, before we signed him, Man City were desperate for him as well.
There was a lot of people after his signature, I remember.
Exactly. And, we managed to get him through the door, a bit like Lucas Bergvall, Archie Gray, their signatures were very sought after. And, Spurs seem to be the kind of home for some of Europe's best young talent at the moment.
Which is a great thing, in my opinion, and it's something that we've needed for a while, something we've neglected. And people like Vuskovic coming and seeing a pathway to playing in the first team, they're seeing the amount of game time Bergwijn and Gray are getting this year, and he must be so excited about joining this group next season. Obviously, we don't know in terms of the future of the manager and all that kind of stuff, but right now, he's probably not interested in that. He's looking at the game time these young players are coming in and developing and getting, and now people like Bergwijn and Gray are regular starters in the Premier League and performing well, and he probably can't wait to be part of that.
And the last one I have for you is this from the Croatian lad, saying Luka Vuskovic's performance against Leuven is the highest rated by a defender without a goal and assist in the top 10 leagues this season. Obviously, the rating is by SofaScore, so you can caveat a little bit. But look at that. So look at some of the names that are on there. I mean, number 2 would be Grimaldo of Leverkusen with 8.8. But, I mean, it's so rare for a player without a goal or assist and a centre-back to be rated so highly.
Yeah, and that goes to show how amazing he was in terms of defensively, how many tackles he was winning, how those long passes that you were saying, he got 10 out of 10. So he's doing everything to a really, really high standard, which gets you a score like that, because this is all based on statistics, all the ratings they give. So statistically, he had a very, very impressive game, and he didn't even have to score, because usually when you get a goal, bumps your score up by a point or two. And so the fact that he didn't even need a goal to get that kind of score, I know some people will just gloss over that, but it is impressive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's go and see the stats behind his season so far with Vesta. You know, still a good few months of the season left to go, so we'll review it all at the end of the season. But it's so impressive.
For sure. I mean, I guess we'll look at some of his attacking stats first, which is obviously we've known he scored 7 goals this season, and you can see here in terms of like the shooting stats, he's like top of all of them in terms of the amount of shots. This is against defenders, I think in Europe, not just in Belgium, but obviously the amount of goals he scored is near the top. Expected goals as well, the amount of shots he takes, really, really high up. And in fact, if you look at can you bring up his shot map as well? Can you bring it up next? Because that I think that tells its own story. Look, this is his shot map for the season. Obviously,
took one from the halfway line.
This exactly the confidence he shows. But I thought obviously you can see all the goals he scored are around the 6-yard box, mostly from corners. But I think what's quite telling is those shots he takes around the 25, 30-yard mark there. There's quite a number of them, and obviously there's one from the halfway line. That is telling me, first of all, it's a man of extreme confidence in his own ability. And as well, the fact he's taking these kind of shots regularity means he's confident he's got a good enough shooting technique to kind of test the keeper. If you actually, we don't have a video of it, but if you take a look at that shot he took from the halfway line, I remember it was a really good effort, and the keeper was left scrambling and nearly caught him out. So this guy has unbelievable confidence, but also unbelievable technique. You see, if you actually look at some of these shots he's taking, they have dip, they have swerve. It's not just power. Like, he's got unbelievable technique on these shots. So obviously, we saw some of his passing stats, but clearly this guy has a real shot on him as well.
Yeah, like you say, a player with full belief in what he is and what he's trying to do. I just cannot wait to see him with my own eyes in a Spurs shirt, because I think this guy is just going to be some immense talent. It's going to be interesting to see if he can bring that kind of self-belief, and is he going to be taking shots from the halfway line in the Premier League? I'm not sure about that, but you know, we're building a team. You know, Jamie Donnelly as well has got a bit of a shot on him from the halfway line. Sonny's been scoring and been taking shots from corners as well. So
we won't mind about a low block when that happens.
Exactly, you know what I mean?
It's one way to combat a low block, just keep shooting for the halfway line.
And as well, I think the way we are with set pieces, I feel like our delivery is usually good from set pieces, but we don't take as much advantage of it as maybe we should do. And a player like Luka Vuskovic that's so high and so aerially dominant, that could be a really big trick up our sleeves.
Massively. And I think, apart from maybe like Romero, but even him, he could be doing better. We don't really have like a massive aerial threat in the box. We struggle to really convert those moments, so we kind of need someone like Vuskovic.
Yeah, and you look at Mickey van der Ven, like, who's really tall and like a physical player, but he's not that good in the air for what he should be in terms of his physicality and his height. Whereas Vuskovic is going to be a different level completely.
Yeah, 100%. Looking at some of his passing stats as well over the season, also pretty impressive, especially when you look at the long ball accuracy. His chances created throughout the season is actually quite impressive, I think mostly from corners. Well, it says here passing accuracy and successful passes, they're pretty average, which I think tells me couple of things. Probably tells me he plays a bit more riskier passes, and as well, maybe he plays a lot more passes forward, so maybe that's why it's a bit lower, but still it's fairly decent. But in terms of his accurate long passes, which is really crucial in the modern game when you've got players, teams who kind of have these pressing structures, they all sometimes flood to one side of the pitch. You've got to have someone who's very good at switching the play. And when we don't have Romero, I think we lack that massively. And I think Vuskovic is someone clearly who has that in his locker, and that's going to be really, really important. So I think his passing stats tell a pretty good story. Obviously, the crossing stats you can ignore. He's not really going to be there to cross the ball. But if you look at his defensive stats as well, again, what's really impressive, the tackles won. What's really impressive is his tackles won is high. His tackles one's low. I'm saying his duels won is high, and the success is high as well. So he competes for a lot of duels, and he wins a high percentage of them. But the most impressive, obviously, is those aerial duels. 71% aerial duel success. So
that's monstrous.
It's absolutely monstrous. And he wins a lot of them as well. So 4 a game, which is a really high number. So he competes for a lot of aerial duels. They pump the ball into him, and he pretty much wins it vast majority of the time. He's clearly an absolute... He's really a force to be reckoned with in the air, Vuskovic. And I think that's really impressive. The recoveries as well, that's an impressive stat. That's kind of, when Van de Ven's recovering from the ball coming in behind and he's getting the ball. Vuskovic seems to have that in his locker as well, which is really, really impressive.
Which is interesting why that one specifically is very high, because from what I've heard, I feel like I've heard that the weakest part of his game is his speed. And with him having such high kind of recoveries, that shows he's actually a really smart player as well.
Yeah, uses his brain. I think that's what you got to do: position yourself in the right way and know where the ball's going to land. Some of the best defenders didn't have to be the quickest, but they use their brain a lot, and that's how they get themselves out of trouble. So that's exactly what Vuskovic said. Funnily enough, he was saying how speed is not my biggest strength, but he said he compared himself to someone like Matt Hummels, who wasn't the fastest, but could always use his brain to get himself out of situations, and that's how he sees himself.
Yeah, so I think that's obviously an unbelievable asset to have, because all the best centre-backs in the world are obviously all very smart in terms of the way they do things. And there's 2 ways you can go about the recoveries. There's either you've got the blistering pace of Van de Ven and you can get yourself out of trouble, like Kyle Walker used to do a lot at Spurs as well. But if you're not blessed with that pace, you need to find other ways to combat that, and it looks like he's doing that.
Yeah. I mean, you look at our best centre-back partnership we've ever had in Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Both of them weren't particularly the fastest. They're not slow, but they weren't the fastest. But they both had just such a great connection, and they played off each other really well, and it worked. And I think Vuskovic could definitely, clearly he's a very smart guy. He can develop a partnership with someone, and that's going to get him out of trouble. And his kind of player traits chart he has over this season says touches is quite low, so he doesn't get on the ball that much, but obviously goals, assists, I mean goals and shots attempted, very, very high. It seems to be more of an attacking one, but again, the aerial duels one is the most impressive one, 92% percentile, in Europe, that is. So really impressive, Vuskovic, when it comes to in the air. And I just feel like we've never really had like an absolute monster dominator in the air at Spurs, and he could be our guy, I think.
Yeah, it's been a key trait that Spurs have been missing over the years for sure, and definitely of late. When you've got a centre-back pairing of Romero and Van de Ven, and look, like you said before, Romero's fairly good in the air, but this is a different level completely. And it'll be interesting to see how he does fit in, that's for sure.
And the last one, we saw some of these stats we saw, but one we didn't point out is successful dribbles. So he's actually 74% of the times he tries to dribble, he's successful. So that goes to show me he can be confident driving into space out of defence as well. He doesn't just have to have a switch of play. He can actually dribble his way out of trouble, and he's pretty good at doing that as well. And that shows also confidence, and it also shows an awareness of where people are on the pitch and when to kind of go forward and when not. So he clearly has a few different strings to his bow.
All right, so there you have it. That is the stats behind Luka Vuskovic. Get excited, people, because this guy is a generational talent, and I cannot wait to see him start pre-season for Tottenham Hotspur and see what he's all about with our own eyes. But those are the numbers behind him, and it's definitely time to get excited, because the time is We're already here in March, and in a few months' time, the guy will be putting on the lily white shirt of Tottenham Hotspur. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as